What's going on, guys? It's Jack. I had a lot of people ask me about questions for my UI and what add-ons I'm using, and weak strings, voodoo strings, the whole bit. So today we're going to go over everything. I'm going to show you all the pertinent raid things that I'm doing, and also provide you all the links and stuff like that that you may be interested in so that you can use it myself. So the suite UI that I'm using is ElvUI, ElvUI, just standard UI. I'll make sure I have a Dropbox link in the description so that you'll just be able to, you'll get the interface, and you'll get the WTF folder of mine from the Dropbox link, and you'll just import it from there. And then you make sure that when you go and open up the menu, it'll be /EC to open up the menu. You just go to Profiles at the end, and then you go to Existing Profiles. I kind of have a lot. And you go to Jak the Caston, select it, and it should show up with this. If you want to move anything around, you just do /move UI, and all these things are movable that you would like to do. So you just make sure you have all, and then you can move stuff around. So overall, it's pretty simple. I don't make a ton of changes to my UI. There's a ton of options that you can play with in the menu and things like that that are pretty useful. As long as you have a clear screen and a clear center frame of the screen during raid encounters, I think that's very important. With my healing frames, I use Voodoo. It's very, very easy if you want to just import my settings. But first, if you want to see what things look like, I'll show you what it looks like with a 20-man, and then you just test. And then you can just see what it'll look like in a raid encounter with the settings that I have on. You'll probably also see it from the YouTube videos as well. So, to import mine, I have a pastebin. So what you'll do is you'll just copy-paste the jumble of letters and numbers like you would if it was a weak aura. You go into the Tools section, and you'll go to Import, and then you just copy-paste the whole thing in. And then to use my profile, it's Jak the Caston /holy, or Jak the Caston /disk. The only thing to keep in mind is if you are using click frames, clickbox frames is what it's usually called, where like if I click on myself with left click, I flash heal. If I right click, I'm casting heal. You know, some people do it, some people just use mouse over macros with Voodoo. Either one really works. Keep in mind if you are using clickbox with, which is what I use, when you're switching between holy and disk, you have to change your binds every single time to adapt to that. It's kind of a pain, but you know, I don't find it too annoying. Click and some other add-ons let you make profiles and stuff like that if you really wanted to do that. So, on to weak auras. I've given links to people a couple times with my weak auras, but I'll have another link for it here. The vertical bar that I use is also available in a horizontal form. It's made by my buddy Ablution, who's another holy priest. So originally he has a horizontal bar, and again that'll be in the link that you can do, that you can get for yourself. If you are not very familiar with weak auras, they're very, very easy to set up. Opening up the menu with /WA in chat will open it up. If you want to import the ones that I have, for instance, with my links, you'll click on the pastebin for whichever one. So for instance, if you want to import the vertical bar, this is what the string is going to look like if you import it. And it's actually going to take a little while because it's a huge fucking thing. It's just a string of random letters and numbers. That's perfectly fine. So just import it from there, and you will be able to use the same weak course and stuff. So, and then it'll take a second to load, and it'll ask you if, you know, this is okay. It has custom code and things like that. Just accept, and you should get it all set up, and you can move it around wherever you want. I usually have mine around the middle of my screen, and then I line it up with my Voodoo frames. A couple other quick weak auras that I use that are pretty easy to make. This is just a big CDs on me that I have for all of my classes and specs that I play. Just shows different buffs, you know. So the biggest one I have right here, Symbol of Hope, and there's a bunch of tank cooldowns, raid cooldowns, and things like that. That are just general buffs you can have on you. That'll be in my pastebin. The time to die is just a tracker to see when a target's going to die, so you have a better idea of when you're using your buttons. The raid cooldowns, it's actually not that visible right now, but if you see in any of my kill videos of recently, I have a weak aura that just shows a whole list of everybody's raid cooldowns and stuff. So you will just have from a lot of my kill videos and stuff like that, you'll see I have the raid cooldown list in general of everyone's raid cooldowns, tank cooldowns. It comes with interrupts, but you can just get rid of that if you don't want it. Again, there's another link to that. It'll load when you get into the raid group. So if you're going through like load options and things like that, You can choose, do I want it in flex raid, 40 man, 10, 20, 25, any of that stuff. And it'll give you the option. So, a couple other ones, just, actually I don't even need that one for brambles because it didn't work as intended. There's the disc bar as well, which again is going to be in Ablution's pastebin, which will be in the link. Weak cores are pretty easy in general to make. Some of them you can just be making like an icon. You go to the trigger and then you'll just type in whatever you want and it'll show it from there. You know, play around with it. It's a very, very useful add-on in general. Some of the less necessary ones that I use are called OPI, where you can set up keybinds that'll show whatever you really want. So for this one I have consumables and I just click, I have Alt and R, and then I can just select all my food, flask, augment rune. Alt T is my professions. You can set up whichever ones you want just through the menus. So you just make a custom ring, and then you can say, okay, I want consumables. These are the consumables that I have. I want to add something else. You know, any kind of ability, spell, item, anything that you possess, you can use. All that stuff. Very, very nifty. Keeps you from having to search through your bags to find something. I don't have any kind of bag add-on. It's just LVY by default. For auctioning, I know not many people do auction stuff, but I use Trade Skill Master. I know a couple people are interested in how I make gold, although I've spent like the majority of my gold this expansion, so not so great. It's a pretty complicated add-on, but a lot of gold makers have guides and stuff for that, so if that's your interest, you know, feel free. Lastly, I have Details, which is my damage and healing meters. Details is probably one of the most customizable damage meters, healing meters that you can get. Super, super easy to customize. It's actually really, really nice, just in terms of showing the breakdown, the additional information that you're able to see whenever you're looking at it. It's just about everything from Warcraft logs, besides like the physical replays and things like that. So I would definitely recommend this over the other ones. It's also very, very great for streaming because it'll show all the specs and you can mouse over it and you can see the talents and item level of players. And it also is the streamer thing, which you've probably seen as well in the top left here. It comes with this plugin that's completely optional if you want to activate it or not. If you would just go all the way down to plugins, and it'll be the streamer plugin, and it just tells you the last thing that you casted and who you casted it on, you know. So it's very, very nifty if you're streaming or you just want to record yourself to watch later on, you know, and people seem to enjoy it a lot. And then it has its own options and things like that that you can adjust. They're very, very customizable. I haven't done a ton of editing with my profile for Details, so I won't have an exact export for that per se. But in general, that's just a quick rundown of all of my add-ons and UI stuff that's really pertinent to raiding. If you guys have any kind of questions, feel free to leave it in the comments and things like that. And as usual, if you want to see the full list of everything that I'm using, some of the things that are not really that necessary for raids, kind of like World Quest list or Action Bar Saver, Angry Assignments, Exorcist Raid Tools, some of the things that don't really have profiles with them, but they're all still very useful. Check them out in my stream description below. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll catch you all later.